our contestant. Jim Howell, it's time to give up. It's time to give up, Jim Howell.
What did you give up? What project were you working on that took a little bit longer, a little more effort than you had expected, and you threw in the towel? What noble cause that you were involved with, and you thought this was it, but after time, for various reasons, you said, I quit. I give up. Albert Einstein said, I think and think for months and years. 99 times my conclusion is false. The 100th time, my conclusion is right. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters and friends, I'm here today to talk about it's time to give up. But actually, probably, if you've already guessed, I'm going to talk about never giving up. Did you know it took the Wright brothers 3 years and hundreds of experiments to get that first plane off the ground? Where would we be today if they didn't keep trying? Thomas Edison. We don't know for sure how many times he tried to invent the light bulb, but we know it was at least 1,000 because a reporter asked him one day, how did it feel to fail 1,000 times trying to invent the light bulb? And Mr. Edison explained, it didn't take me, I didn't fail trying to create the light bulb. Inventing a light bulb was a 1,000-step process. Dr. Seuss, The Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham, we almost didn't have Dr. Seuss. He was going out to children's book publishers and they were saying, no, he's too crazy, you're out of this world. It wasn't until he met a friend from college who happened to be a children's book publisher that he was able to get his book published because he never gave up. And then there's the Colonel, Colonel Sanders, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Did you know he shot a man once? It was a dispute over a road sign on an interstate highway. When the Colonel was 16, he lied about his age and joined the military, was stationed in Cuba, and shoveled donkey dung. He ran a gas station, sold tires, delivered babies, and was a lawyer, but it wasn't until he retired at age 65 that he decided to go to over 1,000 restaurants with his finger-licking good chicken recipe. And his message was simple. Here's my recipe. I don't want any money for it. All I want is a portion of the sales. 1,000 restaurants, over 1,000 restaurants at age 65. And myself, like many of you, probably have had some rocky roads in your life. I was an area manager for a local restaurant franchise. I had 6 restaurants and 3 more were being opened in my area. Then one day, in 5 minutes, it was all done. The company sold. 401k, company car, health insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, a great salary, awesome bonuses, in 5 minutes, gone. My wife Jan only had a few more months to finish college for her degree. And because all of the jobs that I was applying for, none of them paid the benefits or salaries that I was used to. So we talked about her quitting college and getting a full-time job. But we decided not to. We decided that we were going to support this goal of her going on and getting her degree, no matter what. We decided not to give up on that goal. We made ends meet. It wasn't tough. We did not give up. And I got to play Mr. Mom for a while. And my mom taught me right because it was more than once a week when my kids came home from school, there were warm chocolate chip cookies on the kitchen table. Zig Ziglar calls a lot of these people successful failures. Ty Cobbs, Babe Ruth, Walt Disney, and we know the list goes on. And what did they all have in common? They never gave up. And I want to leave you with one more story today. And this is a story about a young woman. When I first heard her story, it blew me away. I could not comprehend what she went through as a teenager. And I was able to get to see her speak at UB last year. Her name is Liz Murray, and she's now the founder of Manifest Living. She's an inspirational speaker, and she's an author. Liz grew up in the Bronx. Both her parents were junkies. The welfare check every month was spent on heroin and cocaine. Liz talks about having ice cubes for dinner, or a portion of a toothpaste for breakfast. At the age 16, Liz's mom dies. Now she's alone and she's homeless, living off the streets in the Bronx. And she talks about how she scavenged for food and lived in the subways to stay warm. But she says there was always that little voice in her head. What if? What if? We all have it, and probably more times than not, we ignore it. Well, Liz tells a story. She was in the subway trying to sleep one night, and that little voice kept coming in her head. What if? What if I went to high school? What if I went to college? What if I had a family? So she chose to not give up and try that. So she got her transcripts and went from high school to high school in the Bronx in New York City and heard no, 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 no. Feeling dejected, one day she was walking down the road on the sidewalk and passed a high school. And she had no intention of going into that high school. But that little voice in her head came in and said, what if that's the high school? She went in. It was the high school. Not only did she graduate from college and high school in 2 years, she went on to Harvard University, is married with 2 children, and is working on her PhD. We all have the same blood that runs through our veins. We all breathe the same air, but we think differently. If we start thinking more like these people that we think are great success in our society, which in reality is just us, they just tried harder and longer, we'll be successful. You never know when your 100th conclusion is going to be right. You never know what restaurant over 1,000 times is going to be the one that says yes. You never know how many years it's going to take you to get your plane off the ground. Never give up. Mr. Contest Chair.
One minute warning, please, John.